We are live on ABC's KMET 1490 AM.com, your number one spot right here for news and talk on the West Coast. I thank everyone for tuning in this morning. On the telephone line, I welcome in the lead vocalist of the group, The Tokens. We welcome in the legendary Jay Siegel. Jay, Brian C., honor to have you.
Well, good morning. Well, it's good morning here. I guess it's good morning out on the West Coast as well.
Yes, it's really an honor. Now, Jay, I want to go back in the very beginning. You've been professionally performing now for an incredible 66 years. And 1956.
Really? No, that can't be. That means I was only like 3 years old when I started. No, only joking.
66 years ago, 56, Brooklyn, New York. That's where it started,
yeah,
right?
We started the group when I was in Lincoln High School in Brooklyn, New York, with this kid sitting next to me in the chorus. The kid's name was Neil Sedaka. So he got me into this whole thing.
Amazing. And I know Lincoln High School very well. I'm from the Sheepshead Bay, Marine Park area, Brooklyn, New York. So I know it very well.
So we must have met in Lundy's restaurant then in Sheepshead Bay. Because we used to walk there from Brighton Beach, sure.
Yeah, and I'm from the Canarsie area, so I know it very well. A question on Sedaka, Jay. Millions know who Neil Sedaka is. Always considered to be a perfectionist at his craft. Take us back to a young Neil Sedaka, 17 years old. Was he always that way?
Always that way, yeah. I remember when I first joined the group, we were in the chorus together in Lincoln High School. He was a senior in Lincoln High School, and I was a junior. I was a year younger than Neil, and he said he was forming this group, and would I want to come over to his house, after school, and and try out to be in this new singing group, which was going to be called the Link Tones. Lincoln High School, the Link Tones. Anyway, I went over to his house. He lived about 5 blocks from where I lived in Brighton Beach in Brooklyn, and sat down at the piano. He sat down at the piano when I sang a few songs, and I made the audition, and that's how my career started with Neil. And I remember being part of that group and singing songs when he was only 17 years old that he had composed. With his writing partner, Howie Greenfield, who was the lyricist that wrote all these great songs when he was just a kid, and I knew he was super talented then and an amazing piano player. And I think his parents thought he would be, playing in Carnegie Hall and in a symphony orchestra. That's how talented he was back then, absolutely.
So if I'm not mistaken, Jay, it was Sedaka who told Hank Medris, original member of the Link Tones, that he thought your singing was great, right?
He did, yeah, he did. And Neil was very impressed that I had this, I had a very extended range vocally, and I was able to, do all this falsetto singing, and that was incorporated in a lot of music that we used to do when we used to perform, with the Link Tones. We used to do all these, high school dances and the USO shows, and we happened to do. I remember doing one TV show when I was still in high school, and it was called Ted Steele's Dance Time, and it was sort of like an American Bandstand, and we performed a couple of songs. We lip synced. That's what we all did back then. We lip synced a couple of songs, on this TV show. I guess it was a local TV show. Yeah, it was called Dance Time.
It's amazing. So 1958, Sedaka is gone. He's off to an amazing solo career, replaced by you, Jay Siegel. And the music that you brought to us with the Tokens, Jay, would you say it's fair to say it was a mixture of doo-wop and folk music combined?
Yeah, I guess, the first song that we wrote, when the Tokens reformed, was our first big national hit record, Tonight I Fell in Love, and I guess that was considered, a doo-wop, a doo-wop in that style of music because it had the dom doobie dom, had that background riff, and that was considered a doo-wop song, a doo-wop record. But we were mostly known, after we had this little record called "The Lion Sleeps Tonight." I don't know if you people are listening, remember that one, but it was pretty good. We were considered America's #1 folk rock groups. That's what we,
Really?
that was the category that we were put into, and because we were put into that, category of being folk rock singers, the major bulk of our performances, we did college concerts, all over the United States, because all the college kids, they were into folk music. But we incorporated folk music with rock and roll and doo-wop and everything. We just threw in everything, very eclectic.
So you're right. So your first hit record, Tonight I Fell in Love, sold about 750,000 copies. I mean, not too bad for your first time out there. I mean, you must have been the talk of Brooklyn.
Well, in New York, it was a #1 record, and in a lot of cities in the Northeast, it was a #1 record. They had two big national charts, and I think it was Billboard and Cashbox. That was the Bible of the music business, and it was a top 10 record in Cashbox magazine. And it was also on the rhythm and blues, the R&B charts. A lot of because of Tonight I Fell in Love, for some reason, a lot of the disc jockeys or promoters thought that the Tokens were a black group, and we used to get booked in a lot of black clubs all over the country. And we walked out there, and here we are, wearing our white college sneakers and white slacks and blue sweaters, and we looked like we just came out of a high school fraternity meeting or something, and they even actually booked us once at the Philadelphia Convention Center to open for James Brown, which was pretty strange combination of acts, but that's when we did have Tonight I Fell in Love, and it was a top 5 record on the R&B charts as well. So. Yeah, like we did folk music, rock and roll, R&B, even delved into country music. We just experimented in everything.
Yeah, and I wasn't born in 61. I just imagining. I mean, you had the Tokens in Brooklyn, you had Vito Pacone and the Elegants out in Staten Island, you had the Belmonts, sure. Larry Chance in the Bronx, Four Seasons in Jersey. I mean, the competition must have been so fierce with all that talent.
It's funny. Just in New Jersey and New York and Philadelphia, I didn't feel it. We didn't feel it as competing with these other acts. We didn't feel that at all. We just wanted to make music and do the best we can. And as far as I was concerned, a lot of these guys and girls were my friends, and I wished them all success. It wasn't like, we got to do one better than them. Maybe a lot of the other acts thought that way, but I was just happy for everybody's success.
So you guys all got along. Were you competing for different gigs, different venues at the time?
No, something. Back in the early '60s, there really weren't that many places to work. As and it started really in the '80s when we played these major theaters and major concert halls, and sometimes we played arenas. But in the early '60s, there were like these funky nightclubs that we didn't have too much fun doing. That's why we ended up, making a career as a performer, doing a lot of the college concerts, because that was where an audience actually would sit in an auditorium and listen to our show, as opposed to a lot of these nightclubs that there were, we were just like an extra added attraction, because there was so much stuff going on in the nightclubs. We really didn't enjoy doing those the club gigs. We did enjoy doing the colleges, and that's in the early part of our performing career.
Wow. So then 1961 is when you had your hit song, and then you mentioned The Lion Sleeps Tonight, and I have a little sample, if you don't mind. I want to play it here. Is that okay?
It's okay. Yeah, hey, it's your station. Go ahead.
All right. Let's hear the Tokens, The Lion Sleeps Tonight. There you have it, Jay Siegel and the Tokens. Powerful vocal cords there, Jay. Amazing stuff.
Now, I'm going to tell you something that you probably didn't know. The record that you just played was a record that the Tokens produced in 1971, and the artist that you just played on the radio was Robert John. That wasn't me. But it was me in the background and the guy and our group in the background singing the background for Robert John, and that became a #1 record. I have a gold record on my wall that the Tokens produced 10 years after The Lion Sleeps Tonight. But I thought Robert John did a great job. He sounded a lot like me because I taught him every note.
Well, I wanted to play a little different because we always hear the original version. So, you know, that just goes to show that song was redone by so many people. I mean, your original version is the best
covers
of all time.
A lot of covers, including Lady Smith, Black Bomb, NSYNC did it, REM did it. It was recorded. I guess it was covered probably maybe 200 times, or all over the world.
Amazing. Now, from what I understand, when that song was first released, people in the group did not like it. The band members didn't like it. Is that true?
All three guys in the group did not want that single to be released because they thought it was too weird. You have a record with an opera singer, a soprano saxophone doing the break, and you have like a rhythm. One of the rhythm guitars wasn't a guitar, it was a banjo, and it said, there's nothing like this on the radio. Nobody's going to play this record. And my take was maybe that's why it will get played because there is nothing like it, and maybe that's why the disc jockeys, will pick it up because it's so, it's so against the market. And I guess I was right because when they put it out, it took 4 weeks for it to reach #1 in the United States, and then it sold about 3 million records when it initially was released, and then it became a #1 record in 36 countries all over the world. So they tell me that The Lion Sleeps Tonight by the Tokens is played at least every day somewhere in the world.
It's amazing. And from what I understand, you first became aware of the song in high school, right?
Yeah. I was listening to the radio one day. I was just a kid in high school, 17 years old, and I heard this cut on the radio. It was from an album. The name of the album was called The Weavers at Carnegie Hall. Now, the Weavers were the top folk music act in the 50s, and I heard this song called "Weem-Away," and Pete Seeger, who was the lead singer of the Weavers, was doing this whole thing in falsetto, and I just wow! I said, I love that melody. I love the way he sang it, and I said, well, I could do that, and I was able to copy Pete Seeger's vocal, and I taught it to the other guys in the group, and we just, we would sing it just for fun, just to warm up, to use it as a warm-up song, or just to sing it for fun. And we always noticed that every time we did sing it, anybody who was around just gathered around, and they just loved this, this piece of music. And that's when I first heard it. It probably was around maybe 1956 when I heard this song on the radio. Yeah.
It's amazing. So after the success of the song, were you afraid that you didn't want to be a one-hit wonder, right? So you branched out to different aspects of the music business, right?
Well, we were afraid after Tonight I Fell in Love, which was our first big record, that we said, we looked at each other, we said, well, we heard this term one-hit wonder. That means, a group or an artist has a big hit record, then you never hear about them again. And we said, well, Tonight I Fell in Love, big hit, but who knows if we'll ever have another hit record. So we just involved ourselves in learning all about the music business as far as, the publishing end of it, because we all wrote a lot of the stuff that we recorded, and we learned about the producing and production end of it, and we learned about starting our own record company, which we did, and we had a lot of success as record producers and publishers and having our own record company. So we were doing everything in the music business. When we weren't in the studio producing records for ourselves, we were producing records for other artists.
We're talking with the legendary Jay Siegel of the Tokens. So, reading your career, it is an amazing one. I mean, you produced the Chiffons, the Happening records, right? Tony
Well,
Orlando
yeah,
and Dawn.
we were in the history books. They say that the Tokens were the first vocal group to produce a #1 million selling record for another vocal group, and that was the first big record that we produced was "He's So Fine" by the Chiffons. And we went on to produce "Sweet Talking Guy" and "One Fine Day," and then we went on to produce the Happenings, "See You in September" and "I Got Rhythm." Randy and the Rainbow's big record of Denise, Tony
Oh, that's a
Orlando,
great song.
his first 3 records we produced, Knock 3 Times, Candida, and Tie Yellow Ribbon. So, yeah, we were really busy in the studio making a lot of records for a lot of people and making them pretty big stars.
Amazing. Yeah, Denise was such a great record. What a great song.
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to talk. I want to talk about your website. If you could just let us know your website, what's going on in your world at this moment. Are you planning tours?
You mean the COVID world right now, right?
I know
The
it's
COVID
crazy.
world
It's
right now.
crazy. It
Well,
doesn't
let's
go
say,
away.
the website is jsegelstokens.com, and it tells all about our events, and there are some interesting videos and stuff, and bios and stuff like that. But we're starting to get back to work. Performing. Probably we started this summer. And because of the pandemic, and this is true for every other artist that we come in contact, we all sat home for over a year and a half because all the venues, the sports and entertainment were the last businesses to come back, and we really felt it was quite a big blow because nobody would we weren't used to sitting home and being whoever went out to eat dinner on a Saturday night. We were always working on the weekends, but now it's starting to come back, and hopefully things will change. And we got a nice year coming up for 2022.
Amazing. Like as I mentioned, over 60 years in the business. What do you think, Jay? So many changes. I mean, you've been around through the decades in the music industry. What do you feel is the biggest change in the industry today?
Well, okay. The biggest change, of course, is the music that's out there, and I guess our parents said this about our music, but the hip hop and rap, which is it's what's selling today, and the big difference is that these artists, the hip hop and rap artists are making millions and millions of dollars, where the artists that started the rock and roll from the late 50s or the middle 50s. Most of us, we were only kids. We didn't know anything about business, and we were really taken over the barrel by a lot of the record companies. A lot of us, we never got paid for songwriting or for record sales, whereas today they're much smarter, but I think our music will last much longer. It's my opinion, because our music, you could actually sing along, you could understand the words, the lyrics, and it had personal meaning to it. It wasn't angry music. It wasn't, it was just, very, it reminded everybody. That's why we have such a good time working today. It reminded everybody a better time in their lives. And I say, when we do a show, we see these people with big smiles on their faces and walking out so happy from, I said, wow, we make people happy. What a great job. How could you have a better job than performing music and making people happy? So I think, pretty fortunate in my life that I was able to, to do this and for my life's work.
Yeah, I mean, your music is like just fine wine. I mean, it never goes old. 61 years later, we're still playing The Lion Sleeps Tonight on the radio and on, Sirius XM. You still hear it practically every day or every other day. I mean, the music never goes
I turn
old.
on the radio, people tell me all the time, oh, I just heard Portrait of My Love on 60s. I just heard Tonight I Fell in Love. I just heard The Lion Sleeps Tonight again. Yeah, they play a lot of our music in Sirius. I guess I'm happy about that because a lot of the big music stations, especially in New York or the major markets, they just stopped playing our music. They don't play it anymore.
So I have a couple of minutes left. I know. Now, did you perform? Did you perform with the Beatles?
I did. Oh, we did.
How
Yeah, we
was?
opened for the Beatles in at the New York Paramount Theater. And the MC of the show, I'll never forget this. How could I forget it? Was Ed Sullivan, and
Wow.
very eclectic mix of artists with Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet. They were on the bill. Nancy Ames, who was a big like a pop folk kind of singer, and the group the Shangri-Las were on the show. And I have an article that was written in the New York Post. I still have it on my computer because I think it means a lot to me. It said that in that performance, the Tokens were the only act that the audience weren't screaming, "We want the Beatles." Every act that came out, they were screaming, "We want the Beatles." When we came on, they actually quieted down and listened to our show. So that I have that written, in the New York Post newspaper. It's quite something.
Amazing.
The thing that disappointed me about working with them is when they walked up on stage, all you heard was, in the balcony were all kids, all bunch of mostly girls, and they were just screaming and screaming. You could not hear a note of music from the band or the vocals. You couldn't hear anything. And when the Beatles left the stage, the screaming continued on for about another 10 minutes. It was deafening. But I said, well, why do these people come to see the Beatles? You can't hear them, because they're just screaming. They just want to see them. So, I wanted to hear them, as well, but I couldn't. But I was standing there watching them. That was pretty good, though.
And any stories you can share with us on Paul McCartney, John Lennon?
We only met Paul McCartney as we were doing our sound check and rehearsal. They had their own dressing room, their own floor in this building of the New York Paramount, and we were doing our sound check and our rehearsal. And McCartney came walking into the on stage, and he walked over to me, and he said, "You're the one who made that record." We all loved that record here, and when we were in London, that was a big hit over there. And it was very exciting to hear Paul McCartney saying, "Well, I love that record." So, he was the only one we had any kind of interaction with. The other guys stayed in their rooms. And that's my Beatles story.
Yeah, and 2 minutes left. I understand you have quite a poster collection. You have like a man cave in your garage, right?
Oh yeah, you could see that. Oh, you can. Yeah, if any of your artists want to see, there was an 11-minute documentary called the J. Siegel. It was called Wimoway, the J. Siegel story. And there's a part of it shows, in my garage. I know my wife once told me when we moved into this house, well, why don't you paint the garage? And I didn't want to paint the garage. So over the years, I just collected all these posters from all the shows that we've ever done. And it's pasted all over the ceiling, the walls, the refrigerator, every space in the garage. It has memories of all the shows that we've done over the past years, and so I can't sell my house because what am I going? I can't leave the garage. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I know. I saw that video clip. I mean, that's an amazing array of posters. A lot of historic material there.
Yeah, I have the first poster, the first college concert we've ever done. It was in December of 1961. It was at C.W. Post College. And I have the ticket price was $2, just like today, right? $2. That would cost to come to see us. I think we did pretty well that night.
And the final question, a non-music question: do you miss the pizza and bagels from Brooklyn?
Absolutely, there was the best childhood growing up in Brooklyn. We had the great. Oh yeah, I remember you can get a slice of pizza when I was a kid and a soda. Well, the slice of pizza was 15 cents, and the soda was 10 cents. But for 25 cents, you have a good lunch. Yes, I do miss the pizza and Nathan's hot dogs in Brooklyn, in Coney Island, the best.
Nothing like hot dogs, knishes, pizza, and bagels from Brooklyn. Nothing like it.
You got it. Great memories. And,
all right, Jay.
I just smelled it. As you said those words, the scent came into my mind.
Oh, well, we got to meet one day. I got to take you out to Brooklyn. Lunch on me.
You got it. I'll be there. I'll be there. You tell me when, and I'll be there. Wait till the snow melts. I know the snow is not there's no snow where you are, but I'm looking out my window here, and the whole backyard where I live is all covered in white.
We'll save it for the spring. On me,
Save
my
it for
treat.
the spring. You got it.
You got it, my friend. Take care of yourself. Honor to have you.
Okay, it was great to talk to you all, and keep doing it, because we need each other and we help each other, and it was a pleasure for me to do it.
Absolutely. The legendary Jay Siegel of the Tokens. Brooklyn's own Jay Siegel. Until next week,
Thank you very
happy
much.
collecting to all.